G'day everyone and happy Easter, and welcome to the Easter extravaganza of the Melbourne Punters show. Potts?
Oh, you're a good man,
JK, happy Easter boys.
What a good man you are.
Happy Easter,
mate. Happy Easter.
And after a little bit of a cock up, which was my fault last week, we're back here at Moonee Valley. We were meant to be here this time last week, or early last week, but I left the camera battery at home, which apparently can be a bit of a technical setback, I'm led to believe.
On the plus side, it gave DK and I a chance to have a good team meeting, which we
much needed.
worked wonders.
And there was one other thing we did do, boys, that day was we went up and had a drink at the Legends Tabaret there, and we were out on the deck, and the difference between that inside 6 metres that got raced on last Friday night and what they'll be racing on again tonight, and what was on that Monday meeting where Marty Synan, I was here at Moonee Valley, I knew nothing about it, but he did go on racing.com and said, look, with the humid weather I've had a problem here, the routes haven't really taken. Well, one strip looked like a ploughed paddock and the other was pristine. That's something that I took out of having a drink with you boys afterwards. So, but we're back.
Back, mate.
It was good to notice that, but there was a lot of panic going into last Friday night's meeting. My general rule is just to look back at what's been happening on the track over the past few months and in those rail positions, and while you had to take into account that there was that route disease and it could have been an issue, the track played pretty even last Friday night, and it has done since January. So
you just look, I said, everyone treating warily. People are asking, they live not far away, and in the morning some other guys say, how much rain you've had out there, and that track's going to be a complete mess, and you're a little bit gun shy yourself, Potts, and then I just had a look at the results after the, you had Entre Nous, heavily backed, Sam, won, Tucano 5-2, Very Choosey's good thing, Tally, beat Valentino, they savvy to Tally, Reldas, one of yours, and French Emotion, the good horse,
which ducked up
didn't affect results.
And they won from everywhere, didn't they? French Emotion ducked up the inside late, Tally sat wide for half the trip and still won.
Yeah.
So it
just
didn't
shows
have too much of an effect. That it can be an overreaction. The only problem I have is, being on course, you'd think that I'd know about this, but no, we didn't.
I think what happened is that the rain in the lead up to the meeting and the route thing, it actually conspired to create a very even and testing track, which meant the form went really, it unfolded very consistently. So anyway, it's good.
Boys, let's use part one to go back over what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. So we'll cast our minds back to Sandown.
That was 2 weeks. That's Wednesday, yesterday. 2 weeks.
Yeah, so Wednesday
week
where we had the protest. That was
good. Yeah,
that was one of them. That was the day that I said.
Can I tell you something about the protest? I backed both horses in that race, and it was a last race. So I was, Lyuba won, and my wife and the dog wanted to go for a walk, so off we went. And the first I knew about the protest was about 2 days later when I was reviewing them. I thought, protest? What the fuck was that about?
Well, I said I said that was the day that the game officially died. Between that, the million Ladbrokes ads that you've now got to put up with during watching Racing.com's coverage when they have the meeting there, it's just... They're just going to fire him in for fun now until they get to the Stewards Conference and tighten the rules up.
What about poor old Jai? They've been the test pilot.
And they put him up to it.
Yeah, Craig sent him in as... and he's the test pilot. He didn't know what to say in there. He just sort of tried to bring out some stuff. His arm was too high and he hit him too hard. And then the horse beat it over the last 100. Like, who was doing better over the last 100? Didn't have anything to do with how many strikes the whip it had.
The one thing to come out of that meeting, though, was a star was born. Like, I've seen him ride a little bit down there in the Western Districts. I remember going down to... when Dolce had his going away party, we were there just after Christmas, and Kyle Mouskill...
Profit share.
Rode Profit Share to win the Koroit Cup down there. It's he's a real talent, and there's some good kids going around. And yesterday we saw, of course, the boy wonder, have his first, after 61 wins in the bush, finally have his first couple of city rides, couple of placings, didn't get a winner, but
nearly pinched the first, didn't he? First ride in town, nearly pinched it.
There's some good kids going around, and just hopefully that Kyle can sort out.
What you have to realise about that first race yesterday is that the original was coming out of the slowest race in the history of mankind. It's actually quite funny. If anyone wants, what's the date of that?
The video was Donald, wasn't it? Or Stool or Donald about 2 weeks ago.
Might have been the
Rising, whatever Original's last run was.
Yeah, go and have a watch and look at the video of that.
It's a comical first 600 metres of the race.
A-Boyd on
it was A-Boyd, poor old A-Boyd.
It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. Anyway, so the point is, it's coming out of that very slowly race, and it takes a lot of talent for a rider to get a horse like that out of the gate so quickly. For him to get that horse to go to the front yesterday that's just an indication that this boy has got all sorts of skills.
Well, I saw another one and I tweeted it out. I was at Ballarat on Tuesday with that Miss Vista, the filly that looks like the next coming of Apache Cat with all the white on it. Well, he just jumped, dictated the race, got out in front, and they were never ever going to catch him. He knew he was on the best horse and just rode it like it.
Just sat on it, I'd argue. Anyway.
Well, the only thing about that was I can't believe they bet $9.
Oh, please. Don't you start. Anyway, back to that Wednesday. While we're speaking on the apprentices and everything, on that particular Wednesday, the kids rode all the quaddie legs.
Yes.
And it was Brandon Stockdale on Goldfields.
Yep.
Buick just owned the race. Tommy Sadler rolled forward on good offer. Potts liked it and wanted him to ride it like that and to own the race. And then Maskell on the two wheel horses the last two races. So that was the 4 quaddie legs, and it was just good to see these kids getting forward and owning these races, Potts.
Absolutely. I particularly want to say something about Tommy Sadler on good offer and Kyle Maskell on Must Be Mink. So it was Kyle's first day in the city, wasn't it? It was, yeah. And, a little bit gunshy. So both of them, when they come back to the yard, were almost apologising for their rides.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to these boys that more races are won by riders using intent and being assertive than trying to ride pretty and be cute. Those 2 rides are on the best horses in those races. Yeah. Those 2 rides were sensational. And if you guys are getting any advice to not ride like that, you want to have a look at who you're getting advice from. I just can't commend both of you for riding so sensibly and taking the initiative on the best horses in the race. And if you had, a senior jockey had been on those horses trying to be cute on them, they could well have got beat when they had those races. They had all the platform and everything they needed to win those races. So, particularly, often, you can't do it every ride because sometimes you're not on the best horse or the strongest horses in the race. But when you are on a good ride and you're on the best horse in the race, the way to give yourself the chance to win more races or to maximise your strike rate on those horses is to show that kind of intent and be assertive like that. It's just, I really want to commend those young boys for having the courage to ride like that and not try and, like Tommy said, it could have stayed in the 1-1 and the horse wanted to run and he just went with it and let the horse build its momentum.
Yeah, sure.
And, Vorspiel went with it, but it was 5 lengths back to the others, and it wouldn't have won by that kind of margin if he hadn't have rode it and gone with the horse. So well done to both those young lads.
Some good kids around. It's
yeah,
great.
and B Stockdale's another one. Like he's been riding plenty of winners lately, and he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
There really is a good crop coming through. And for friend of the show, Marco B, it looks like you're going to lose Kyle from Tassie because they'll eventually get him over here. But you get him back because you're a huge D Weir man. And imagine D Weir having a very decent 3 kilo claiming apprentice riding around for him.
Yeah, and he's given Ben Allen a few rides as well. So
yeah,
it's great with his apprentices, D Weir, and how he uses them.
The other point too on that, I didn't really take much notice of the Goldfields race, particularly on the day. But when I went back and reviewed it, that horse is just rated through the roof. I mean, it's still in its first preps. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it, but I mean, it's shown enormous talent there.
Yeah, well,
Wednesday,
it showed the talent in that Ballarat maiden, of course, when it owned and just sprinted clear, and we fell into nucleus off the back of that. But then he was unlucky in behind him at Moonee Valley, same as Jezebel, I think, which came out one yesterday, and then but just own that race, that camp, just find that camp, they can rapidly improve, can't they?
Yeah.
With a couple of runs under their belt.
Anything else from that Sandown meeting, boys, or should we move ahead to last Friday night's meeting?
Well, I think we spoke about that with the results and everything in the track, but I think maybe just the talking point was Tally and Paneltino and the Alistair Clark there, with Tally with the beautiful platform with that real stamina that we've been talking about that he's got versus the horse coming off the big Group 1 run and back to Flemington to Moonee Valley and all different things. So I thought, I think you're on Tally's. You've always been on Tally's side, but even at the odds that night, you were with Tally.
I backed him to beat Palantino. I took $4, which ended up being a mistake. I thought the big players would oppose Palantino coming from the fast run 1600 up to 2000, but anyway, I wasn't surprised to see Tally just be too strong late. My only disappointment out of that race was, first of all, what was great was Tally finally did everything right. Paraded great, he's come good. He's just so ready to do something at his next couple of starts. They just didn't run great figures in that race, but it might not matter because it was a really testing track. So
they ran
far slower time than Takano, but
Right.
he's still a very live chance heading towards the AJC Derby.
Derbies, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, I was out here last Friday night, and it was actually a reasonably, I wouldn't say it was busy, but it was a solid sort of meeting. Like there was people around and there was cash a bit around, and that sort of flows on into the day after at Bendigo. I was up at Bendigo, and
A good crowd there, was there?
no,
No.
it was. I spoke to I spoke to most of the Rails boys. I spoke to Freddie Watson, a couple of others, and all of them were pretty happy to say that they held probably nearly half of what they held the year before, and the crowd was down as well.
It's disappointing.
I think it is, but I think also the fields were down. The field sizes were down from what I can remember from that previous meeting. They weren't the giant fields.
I don't think that's got anything to do with the crowd.
But yeah, I don't know whether
it should
it
be
was.
up to the club to be really
Yeah.
getting into the local community there and really pushing that meeting, you know?
Well, I've got a strong connection up in Bendigo, and
No,
they said there wasn't a
the
terrible
coverage.
amount of it, which is a bit of a shame.
Well, you think they get the not honour, but of having a standalone Saturday. These one, and there are only a couple of clubs that are going to have them. And
Yep.
I think you think they take the bit between the teeth and really make it like a cup day sort of thing. You know?
There should be as much promotion going into that day as what goes into Bendigo Cup Day,
Yeah,
because it should be almost of equal billing, because the prize money's there.
yeah. And it's on a Saturday, and it's not in the footy season, and you know it's
That
yeah.
It was the perfect weekend for it, because
Yeah.
it was the weekend before the AFL kicks off, and they could have promoted it and said, right, this is your sort of last chance. The weather was good, so they could have gone out there, but yeah, even out on the front lawn, like they weren't terribly busy out there, so it was a bit of a shame. Like it was, other than that, it was
track was a bit disappointing up there, Potts.
It was okay. I mean, I suppose it was.
You sort
It
of.
wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. So it was sort of,
I think whenever, even all the years I've been betting at Bendigo, whenever there's moisture around,
Yeah.
or, you know, we did have the problem where they were putting the hoses on cup days and things like that. The fence was rough.
Yeah.
That all stopped. But with all that rain around during the week, even though it dried out, I still had the feeling that you want to be down the middle.
Yeah.
You know, it's a down the middle joint.
Yeah,
but
it is.
It's one of the joints you do to form down the middle. You
Yeah,
know?
I probably should have gone back and looked at the winning back gates. I haven't done that.
Yeah.
I would think there was a lot of middle to wide draws winning
Yeah.
there.
I know
Yeah.
why you haven't done that, boss. You haven't had time, because there's
No,
been a city
it's been
meeting
a
every
lot.
other day for the last 2 weeks.
It has.
Caitlin Mallion rode the track well though, and I'm kicking myself because I looked up there and saw the $9 Nevis on the board, and the couple of the boys that I bet with didn't have the $9, and I ummed and I ahed, and by the time that happened, they jumped and they went without me. So she's jumped to the front.
Two races in a row.
Yeah,
Nevis and Written, and just rode them. It's both the same, and that's her. She's just a star at doing that.
yeah.
You know, she can overcook it. We copped her overcooking it a couple of times, haven't we? A couple of things Potts found we sent out to subscribers on it. She wants to get to the front and something goes and takes her on. She's sort of got that mindset to keep going, which is, anyway, but that's part of the, you know, you've got to wear that sometimes if she's going to ride the other one so well.
I think she's really good on the once you get 1400 metres plus.
Yeah, okay,
I think when it's at the sprint distances,
She doesn't rate them
yeah,
quite as.
well, it's just harder, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, you're right. You're spot on.
Another one to come out of the.
Before we move on past the Nevis one, it's funny how sometimes you can spend 2 hours doing a race. You can have a position, and they can run 10 metres.
Yeah.
They were 2 strides out of the gates, and I went, "Oh, Nevis is going to win this race. I'm going to lose."
You're going to lose on it.
And it just was so obvious all of a sudden, and it never occurred to me prior. You know,
What? Because it had only what?
I don't know. As soon as I thought, you're not going to do what you did last time. You've got that run at the distance range, same distance. So she's gone crazy hard at Flemington. It's a great fitness base. It's a track where the leaders are doing quite well. You got to, you know, it was Michelle off, Katie Mallion on, which I would, on that horse it's a tick.
That horse for sure.
Someone mentioned that in the chat room, didn't they, Potts? Like that was the main reason I went looking for the price. I just thought, oh, hang on, he's right. That's a big jock change. That consider
On a leader.
Yeah,
on where you got to rate it.
and especially when Katie had a tail up too, because I think that was the second of the double, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So she had a tail up. I thought, oh, I want to be on it, and then of course me not being able to make a swift decision meant that I missed it. But I'm happy to admit that I was wrong. A sign won't win the maiden hurdle at Warrnambool, mainly because unless they decide to run the maiden hurdle over 2,000 metres, he's not going to get the 3,200.
Got to eat some humble pie, you W. You stated that he was a borderline hurdler when he won at Caulfield, and me and Potts were sort of, come on, he's a 50 to 1 in the Caulfield Cup. But
Well, I still thought I was right, up until the 200 metre mark last week at Bendigo, because I just thought, we're home here. He's got into a winning position,
And then-
home we go.
Yeah.
And then as soon as, well, both horse and jockey seemed to run out of complete steam at the 200 metre mark, and it was just, I was like, I couldn't believe Dandy, Gent, and Lucky. I'm thinking,
Lucky was in the IG, right down on the inside. It was car, and it.
Did
He
So
said it
they-
didn't stay.
yeah, I
Because
was,
it pulled too hard. But
no, I just,
you reckon he ran out of puff as well?
well, I mean the horse more, but very disappointing. And I bet up accordingly because I thought it was a horse with something to offer. Seasoned by the 2400 metre run, and I've got to just say in hindsight, no blame anywhere, but I just overrated the horse. So
Did he motor mower?
did he what?
The lawnmower effect. Did he get there where he did the one last rev and then...
I think he's got manners. He needs own lead, by the sound. Own
Yeah,
lead and rated,
yeah.
and kid to him because
Yeah.
he doesn't pull and left alone in front. Or at least he's going to. Yeah, I don't
So in
know.
hindsight, what you were saying is he probably pinched that race at Caulfield.
Yeah, and that's his level.
Yeah.
2,000 metre listed race or something. If he. Anyway, but it's.
Are we in favour of the standalones, boys? I'm happy to have them at places like Ballarat and Bendigo that are good, big, open tracks where we can get decent fields. I feel a lot more comfortable there than what I will be in a fortnight when we go down to Mornington for the Mornington Cup.
And it's on the same day as one of the
Yeah,
championships.
it's one of the championship stuff. That could have just been programmed a little bit better.
Pakenham's going to get one as well, which they probably deserve. That track is
Oh.
I mean,
And they just keep pounding it. It's going, like, I had a look at the draws for the next month coming up. There's, like, the synthetics starting to kick in there, but there's as many meetings on the turf as there was in the synthetic for the draws coming up, so they're happy to go around there each week, and it just seems to hold together. And I was out there a fortnight or so ago on the Thursday night when we had a stack of rain and still raced perfectly.
No, I mean they're big. Bendigo and Ballarat are big towns.
Yeah,
you know, they're
and they're big
borderline
towns.
cities by themselves. As long as the tracks are up to scratch, and I mean they can't be any worse than the tracks we put up with in town with the root problem here. Sandown has had some troubles. Mick Goody had all the troubles.
Yep.
You know, Derby Day, what happened? So
See, we could
I
even-
don't know. I don't have an issue with it.
If there was one more, well, Geelong would probably have to get it if their track's right, because another nice big open track with Sweeting Bend, not too far from Melbourne for everyone to get to.
I think there. I think 4. One, you know, even though there's 2 within 3 weeks now, but I think 4 a year sounds right to me.
I've got a radical idea though.
What's that?
Have the May Carnival, but run it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Warrnambool.
Didn't Matt Stewart float something about that moving? In one of
No,
his,
he
he
pinched my
floats
idea
a lot
then.
of other stuff then, but I just every carnival he comes up. Same with the Oaks Day, he likes to tinker with that.
Like, I know everyone, it's schoolies for old blokes, and I'll be down there this year, and it'll be no doubt be big, and I just think that it'd be great for the jumps. B, right in that before we get into the real wet tracks, it'd be a chance to give some of the city tracks a spell for.
But you know how that track plays down there on that last day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's outside fence job. You know,
Yeah, it's dangerous.
don't know if that's
Well, it was
but
just
anyway,
a wild
no,
idea.
We like ideas, mate. Anything to make things better and
I think
improve
there's
things.
there's 2 answers to the question, Juppy, about the. I don't particularly mind the standalones as long as they're on tracks that you're happy to bet on.
Yep.
So Mornington can be a bit
Yeah.
50-50.
Yep.
But I think so personally I don't have a big issue, but the question the administrators got to ask themselves are the customers embracing it?
Well-
are the general punters? And the answer to that's got to be looking into the turnover, which I haven't got the answer to, but I'd be
I won't have it till this week.
yeah.
Till Wednesday. Well, probably till today or whatever. But I heard on the jury duty, the guy from Jake Norton
Yeah.
said, as a rule, they're down.
Well, I can tell you now, from being in the ring all day on Saturday, the normal commission agents for the big blokes were very, very, very quiet.
I don't think you can't have fantastic meetings every weekend. It'd
True.
be good if you could. There's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be soft meetings. I just think it's a bit of a pity to have that big meeting at Flemington and then almost disappear off the face of the earth. You know, what I mean, you've sort of got people engaged a little bit. Footy
Yeah.
season hasn't started yet. Then a lot of people see it's not Bendigo and they just go, "No, I'm not interested."
Well,
So-
I'd like this.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it doesn't fit program-wise, but this meeting that's on tonight, we're here on the Thursday night. It's the first night of a long weekend. It's the first game of the footy season. Like, it's a Group 1 meeting. You're just going to get lost, isn't it? Like, I'm not expecting a huge crowd here tonight.
So you're saying if this meeting had been last Saturday night, so it might have
Yeah,
been,
or yeah.
you know,
It just
While on or something.
Yeah.
like, I know it doesn't fit with the programming with the sprinters having to back up a week later, but you're probably better off looking at doing something like that and rejigging it a little bit than, as you say, losing that momentum. Because everyone said that that crowd at Flemington was down a bit, but like I was at Flemington for all of the day, and I was out on the front lawn. They had the food and wine festival out of there. There was a million out there, and they were all on the pen and ink out there. And then I was up in the forum, and it was a solid day up there. It was busy. So they said the crowd was down. Well, I don't think they could be too disappointed. There was still 20 plus thousand. There was plenty of people there. I mean, they didn't even get... They said they got 16 to the Golden Slipper last week.
That's a tragedy, that is.
And the other thing with that is...
overstated.
Yeah, and they've put the sugar on top of that. Like,
it's got lost, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Golden Slipper...
I went to the Golden Slipper 20 years in a row, and it was always 30 to 40. And it was a great race day. It's just, I mean, they're slowly destroying it. It's becoming irrelevant.
Yeah.
Almost. It's a breeder's race for 2-year-olds. Like, it's weird.
yeah. And the rest of that card was great.
Yeah.
Boys, well, the other big news that's happened over the last couple of weeks is we've got a clearance sale to go to on Wednesday where everything's been sold to Burren Road in Caulfield because Peter Moody's just said, well, here's the keys.
I mean, honestly, I put this on the agenda thinking that maybe everyone would be interested in it, but I'm worn out from listening to the bits. I mean, honestly, good luck, Pete. Hope things go well for you.
He's a good bloke.
And whatever you do, it's racing's loss. I think the whole industry's paying a price for giving people access to horses that they shouldn't have. And it's up to the administrators or the policymakers to sort it out because it's a bloody mess. And, let's hope we don't lose a stack more. I mean, there'll be new people come along to fill the void, but we need good trainers. So.
Yeah, no, I've got a gut full of it all, but sad to see a good bloke like him go, but I don't know what's happened. I'm sick of the Cobalt police and all this sort of stuff, when we've got the punters that keep running last every day of the week, all the issues we've got, so all the best, Pete.
On that exact issue, DK, we used to have part 1 and part 2, now we've got the week that was, and what about the punters? That's part